Are the Republicans crazy enough to actually not pass immigration reform? They lost 71% of the Latino vote in 2012, and it was decisive in the election. And every election, national election, they lose a bigger and bigger chunk of the Latino vote. 71% went to President Obama in that cycle, and that was more than what happened in 2008, more than what happened in 2004. President Bush actually used to do halfway decent with Latino voters. That now seems like a long, long time ago. And in fact, when President Bush spoke in favor of immigration reform, very obliquely, not very clear, not saying, hey, Republicans should do it, but he's like, look, we're a country that believes in the rule of law, but we're also a welcoming country. Republicans were livid. We had a congressman from Kansas who spoke up. His name is Tim Hulskamp, and he said, we care what people back home say, not what some former president says. Welcoming country? What do you think we are? That's not how I welcome immigrants. So, but look, this is political suicide. It's not like the Karl Rove and George Bush back in the day were pleasant people and they did it out of the goodness of their heart. They just knew that the Republican Party would cease to exist if they couldn't win any of the black vote, any of the Latino vote, any of the gay vote, and on it goes, right? But these Republicans might be insane. So now on the Senate side, they passed a bipartisan bill, and it got over 60 votes, 68 to 32. That's a pretty comfortable margin. So, of course, the Republicans were the ones that voted against, but at least a couple of Republicans switched so that it passed. On the House side, Boehner has promised them, I will not put up for a vote anything that doesn't have the majority of the majority, meaning the minority, a majority of the Republicans. Now, if he put it up for a vote, the bipartisan compromise in the Senate, it probably would pass the House. He would get some Republicans that defected and voted with the Democrats, and they would pass the bill. But we can't have that, because that would actually solve the Republican problems. The Democrats are in some ways trying to help the Republicans. Now, what they could do is say, we want real immigration reform, really positive immigration reform. This is not it. This is in many ways draconian. It takes, 15 years to go through the system. Well, I should say 11 years was the final number to get citizenship. But, and it spends an insane amount of money on border security, and the list goes on and on of what's wrong with this bill. And the Democrats could have easily had a win-win situation where they say, look, we want this to be a real reform bill. Otherwise, we're going to, if you guys vote against it, that's your problem. And that would be a huge electoral victory for the Democrats. Instead, as usual, they've given the Republicans the queen. They said, all right, make it more draconian and we'll vote for it anyway, even though it's more right-wing, right? Okay, so what do the Republicans do? They return the favor and say, no, you take the queen and you take our queen as well. So now in the House, they're saying, this thing that would really help us, Democrats, thank you as always, but no thanks. Now what they're saying is, we're not going to pass anything in the House unless it's piecemeal, because we don't want to go to committee with the Senate version, where if you merge the two, then Boehner might put that up for a vote and it might accidentally pass and accidentally help Republicans. Republicans wouldn't want that because they're so off the deep edge. So they're saying, no, we'll only vote one piece at a time. We will never vote on citizenship. Those dirty immigrants don't deserve citizenship. One of the Republicans in the House had talked about, like, well, if we did this, they might get jobs that are outside of gardener and sanitation workers. Oh no, wow, can you imagine? These guys are unreal. So they're saying the only thing they're going to vote on are piecemeal things like maybe border security, et cetera. But they're even worried about voting on that because if they do, again, because of the processes of Congress, it might go to reconciliation and overall have a bill that passes. And they don't want any bill to pass. And as I look at that, I think they can't do that. It's too politically stupid. They've got to, at some point, find a way to trick themselves, et cetera, find excuses so that a bill passes, as right-wing as it is, and they can say, we did immigration reform, Latinos, please stop hating us. But this is the test. Because if they don't actually pass this immigration reform, the Republicans are crazier than I thought they were. And they're, by the way, much dumber than I thought they were. Because the Democrats are pathetic. They're willing to give the Republicans every single advantage. They're willing to frame all the bills in their direction when they don't need to at all. And if the Republicans turn that gift down, boy, man, that's a level of dumb I could not have expected.